For this last part, we're going to talk about domain and range for sine and cosine functions. Now, it's a little different than what we would normally do, because normally it's like, oh, domain is talking about the x values, range is talking about the y values. Taking it a step back, domain's all about your input values. Now, in this case, our input values are our angle measures. So thinking about our angle measures, especially in terms of, well, radians or degrees, really, we got between 0 and 360, or 0 and 2 pi, so you can just talk about the full circle. But thinking back to what we did in section 4.1, we also have coterminal angles. So we could do 360 degrees, 390 degrees, 405 degrees. You can do an infinite number because you can also do negative values. So that means our input values for the domain of both sine and cosine, we're going to say we're talking about angle measures. So we're going to say theta is an element of the real numbers, because you can do any positive angle measure, you can do any negative angle measure, and it's going to be the same thing for cosine. So theta is an element of the real numbers. For the range, the outputs. Now in this case, the outputs for sine are the y values. So looking at our y values, we start off with a y value of 0 at 0 degrees, or 0 pi. We go up to 1, then we're back down to 0. So like everything like between this 0 and this 1 up here is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but they're less than 1, they're less than 1. We hit 1, then we start going back down. And then once we go back all the way down to 0, if we keep going further around the circle, we'll eventually get down to -1, and then we'll go back up to 0. And we'll just keep repeating that pattern over and over and over. So, oops, sorry, wrong notes. We're going to say our y values, our outputs, our y's are element of the reals, such that our y values have to be between -1 and +1. The lowest y value we're going to get is -1. The highest y value we're going to get is +1. Now the x values for, sorry, the cosines, pretty much the same. Those are the x values in a unit circle. So looking at our highest x value, the largest x value is +1 over here. The lowest x value is -1. Everything else is in between. So we have an x value of 0, we have an x value of a half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2. The negative version. So it's everything between -1 and 1. So it's going to be similar. For now, we're going to say x is an element of the reals such that -1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to +1.